Hello and welcome back to This or That with Kobe and Dash, presented by Verizon. You all know the drill already. Go to YouTube/LCS, subscribe to all of the content, and we got all the games coming this weekend, James. It's going to be crazy. TSM versus EG, Dignitas versus 100 Thieves.
Lower bracket. No second chance anymore, Kobe. This is the real deal. You got to put up or shut up, or rather just exit the playoff picture and then sit there and watch everybody else do that? what you would hope to have achieved. But the games this past weekend were definitely exciting, although I do feel like it painted a little bit of a picture for who exactly are the favorites in the postseason. So I'm curious to see what happens
go
this
ahead
weekend,
and guess that we've got at least one slide on the upcoming matches here. Let's get into number one and see what we've got. Playoffs time. What did you know? First slide happens to be the bigger mismatch. TSM versus EG, Dignitas versus 100 Thieves. This one, I think this slide for last week would be way easier to answer. But coming into this week, honestly, this is tough.
Yeah, I had higher expectations for TSM overall coming into playoffs based on the fact that they finished second in the regular season. I do believe it is a bad stylistic matchup for them against EG, kind of in a similar way that TL was able to pull them apart with side lane pressure. I think EG is uniquely equipped to do that, which is why I'm actually entertaining the idea of saying that that's a bigger mismatch, but in a weird way saying it's almost in favor of EG, whereas on the side of... Yeah, I know! Isn't that wild?
Yeah, you blew my mind, bro.
And then on the other side of things, it's just like, I mean, Dignitas has definitely been a surprise this split, and 100 Thieves has definitely waffled and kind of petered out. But therefore, I think that there's just so much that's unknown about that. It's hard for me to call it a mismatch. I almost feel like it's just going to be who shows up better on the day.
Certainly is going to be a difficult as far as bigger mismatch because they're so close. Honestly, the point you're bringing up about the styles between EG and TSM, I think they're spot on. If we look at the solo lanes, I think that's where a lot of the unique matchups come in. You know, Jizuke, Rise, Echo. Everybody loves these champions for him. I love it. I want to see it. If you put him on an Orianna or a Azir matchup versus PoE, though, you know, that's probably going to be a no-brainer. Everybody chooses PoE there. But Huni and Impact in the top lane have a very long history, my friend, and Impact has gotten the better, of the majority of the trades. You got something, or are you just agreeing?
No, I'm agreeing. Okay. You're putting all the points up on the board for me right there, right?
If we're looking at the Dig versus 100 Thieves matchup, the biggest thing to me between the difference is that 100 Thieves, they seem to have lost their drive toward like really, really cohesive and well-constructed, jungle-focused early proactive game. And where Dignitas, you're looking at Dardoch as one of the leaders of that team, one of the biggest voices. They're putting 5 people here to defend invades for him all the time. Like he's got him in line, right? There's a hierarchy, a chain of command on Dignitas that they follow, and it gives them a pretty clear pathway, whereas 100 Thieves seem to have lost a little bit of that identity. So I guess I'm going to go with the other slide to show how close this is. I'm going to go with the Dig 100 Thieves one.
All right, I'm sticking with EG TSM. That's just slide number 1. Let's see what we got next on slide number 2. Improved their team from start of split. I guess who improved their team more? Would it be Jatt or Reignover?
I go Reignover. To me, in the lock-in tournament, we actually saw some amazing things out of Team Liquid. And yes, they did have a slump in the middle. I'd say Tactical probably slumped the most of any of the players on Team Liquid. They, as a team, they also slumped in a lot of their mid-game decision-making, it seemed like. Some of the objective trading, some of the shot calling definitely went awry. But for me, it felt more like it was high expectations than a slump, and then rising back up
so rather than return to form.
Yeah, Cloud9, it felt like you saw these issues in lock-in and in the beginning, and it was more of a steady climb up for them. What about you?
Yeah, no, you're convincing me. I was initially sitting on the other side of the fence, and I don't know if that's just because I had the expectation that the individual pieces of Cloud9 would eventually realize their potential. Like, I don't think anyone's going to argue that Perkz was playing his best from day one.
And, if you are going to argue that, you're wrong. The only thing that took a nosedive maybe would be Blabber, I guess would be our in the last few games. He hasn't been as dominant.
Right. But I do think to some degree, you've convinced me a bit that Cloud9 has found, after experimenting, with how are they going to play strong side on the top side and give things like Camille and counterpick to Fudge, or are they going to go back to, playing more through mid lane, and that they've honed in on a style where perhaps TL already had all the pieces, jumbled them around to see if anything else would work, and then realized, no, nothing else is going to work. Put them all back. Put them back the way they were. And we'll go with that. So I think actually you convinced me where I was originally going to say Jatt. I'm going to lean into the Reignover point as well. I do think Tactical is still underperforming, just as on top of it all.
Okay, I definitely think their series versus TSM was overall better, but he did have some of those rocket jumps.
Tristana jumps. Yeah.
Let's get to the next slide. Number 3. What do we got here? Bring one back into the pro meta. Veigar or Fizz? For me,
well, one's already been brought.
Veigar. For me, I want to see Fizz. And even if you hadn't already seen one, for me, Veigar does more slowing it down and is really annoying to work around the cage. The cage to me is such a unique thing for him and for comps that are built for Veigar and champs who want to play it into. Whereas Fizz, I just love assassins. I love split pushers. I want to see more of that type of style, that you can have these aggressive all-ins, but it's a champion that you can get, taken down a lot in lane phase, harass your melee. You don't have your wave clear unless you put your body at risk. So I want more risk at takers and stuff like that. Let's get some Fizz.
I'm 100% with you on this one. Veigar slows the game down. It's not fun to watch people position around a global objective for minutes on end, trying to dodge cages or catch somebody in the game. Everfrost on top of it all. Great point. Whereas Fizz, already a champion that I love, used to have a Fizz only account. But yes, assassins, give me the Talons back, give me the Zeds back. Let's have LeBlanc be in the meta alongside it all with the Echo, and oh my goodness, makes for a much more exciting meta. So Fizz all the way. Slide number 4. Right. Let's take a look. Bigger threat, is it Perkz' Tristana or Tactical's Tristana?
Threat to who?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point.
Whom are we threatening here, James?
Well, you know what? Okay, then by the strictest definition of the word threat, perhaps Tacticals is the most threatening because it goes both ways. Every time he goes in, it's either a complete int for his own team or he's going to get the resets to ace you
Somebody's
entirely.
Going to die. That basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody is going to die. Honestly, that's my answer right off the bat, too. We got to go Tactical. Because as much as it's so much fun to make fun of him, for the Malphite meme that's emerging where he's using rocket jumps like Malphite also initiated, he actually used one onto 3 people, one of whom also had exhaust in the game. But then he also had solo kills with the champion.
Right.
He's jumping in and getting kills and resets with it. So, I agree. Boom. Tactical. All right, next slide. Number 5. Greater rush. Is it winning your Clash bracket or promoting out of your current tier? Promoting! All right? Yeah. Clash is cool. You get some skins at the end. All right, great. Finally promoting out of the current tier, especially if you've been stuck in that for a while. That is for sure.
Especially since they said tier. We're not just talking division. I'm not going from, Plat 4 to Plat 3. Also,
I don't know how recently you've promoted, but you don't even have to play. You don't even have to play
that's true.
Promotions for those anymore. It just goes.
Well, also, I love how the image they used, it says Plat 5. Which doesn't exist anymore, right? But yeah, like 100%. It feels so much better to go from plat to diamond or from gold to plat than it does for just a division. I think the only argument I could make for Clash bracket is if I was already like a grandmaster level player, right? So I'm actually playing against other people who are in that top 0.01% of players. Then it might feel good to win an organized kind of team-oriented thing. But
a bunch of goons on your team, huh?
Exactly. Until I'm Grandmaster, I don't think I care so much about winning Clash because it's just a total crapshoot. 100%. I just want my ego, my own personal ego, to rise. So I'm with you. It's on the current tier. Slide 6. Better place to watch LCS, inside or on the roof?
This is me and Flowers were talking about it. I don't know how the topic came up, but he was talking about watching it at home with his friends. He used to before, coming out here and joining the LCS. Straight up watch it on the roof. I a bunch of college friends having some imbibing
beers?
some some
Bud
libations,
Lights, if you will.
Fair enough. Those are sponsored. There we go. That's fair game. I was like, where do we go with this?
How do we plug?
But then I was like, you know what? That sounds awesome. I want to cast from, since we're casting from home anyways, I want to cast from the roof, move my whole setup up there. So I actually am for sure going with on the roof. He sold it to me. He had a little talk afterwards too. Where we brought it back up, and he was like, "Oh yeah, there's all these things. You have the wind in your face. You can. Never mind. I won't go into all of them. But there's a lot of good.
Sun's out, guns out, and I definitely see that for both you and Captain Flowers. I do think I'm going to go with inside, though, because I think for a couple reasons. Number one, the image they chose is looking like a pretty busy city. That's a lot of ambient noise that I don't want to be dealing with and having to compete against when ultimately watching. We're talking glare of the sun. And LCS days are a long day. So, I mean, the TV positioning where maybe it's going to look good for half the day, then you're fighting glare for the other half the day. Don't necessarily want to deal with it. Also, on inside, easier trips to the fridge, the kitchen for snacks, the bathroom, all that kind of stuff. And ultimately, comfy couches. I love to lounge. I'm sticking inside.
The shop is actually so funny. Look at this. We got the stock image. It's all clean, like a perfect advertisement. Everybody's having so much fun here. Look at this juicy chicken wings we got here. And then the other ones, we got Captain Flowers up here with like a turned over trash can or something with a TV on it from the 1950s or something.
And by himself, just yelling at the TV.
No contest then. You got me with the slides there. Number 7. What do we got?
Slide.
Pick only one stance to win the whole game with. If you say turtle, I'm slapping you.
That's incorrect, 100%. It's not turtle. It's definitely not.
I'm going to go bear. It's either bear or Phoenix for me because Phoenix is the clear stance and bear is the gank stance. So
pick one.
It's one of those two. I said bear. I'm going bear.
Okay. It's one of those two.
I'm just not farming. They keep nerfing jungle. Bear. They took the experience out. It's honestly probably the wrong answer. Phoenix, if you're actually trying to win, would be the better answer. But I guess I already put in my bear answer.
I actually think. Well, okay, from the perspective that from level 1, you need Phoenix to just clear the jungle and get XP, you're probably right. I was just thinking about, at a certain point, though, late game, Udyr's basically a stun bot and a frontliner, so just being able to spam bear for move speed and to slap people is probably pretty effective. But I'm going to go with Tiger because I want to duel people.
I told you there were 2 right answers here. You chose one of the other ones.
I'm going to go with Tiger because if I have to rely on one stance, it's probably best that I just never group. Tiger would still allow me to clear the jungle somewhat effectively, and then I just go to split push build and open the gates. We're sticking in a side lane. I'm never meeting up with anybody else. I'm just gonna claw you in the face in the 1v1, and I'm gonna look for the win that way. I'm going Tiger, 100%.
The year of the Tiger is over. They nerfed Tiger so much.
It ain't the year of the bear, though. I can tell you that much.
Phoenix doesn't even have a year, so you know what? It's true. But I'm going to try hard then. I'm changing my answer to the real answer that I actually think I want to win. So,
okay.
If you're not doing Phoenix, I'm getting on that Phoenix. All right.
We're both damage-oriented, though. That's what matters.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of This or That. Thank you for tuning in. As always, tune in this weekend for more of the LCS playoffs. We're going through the lower bracket, so there will be eliminations. People will be crying.
Lots of tears.
Will be crushed, okay?
Yeah, it'll be horrible.